Well, we made it, guys. The very, very last show of the Beer Garden this season. It took a lot of months, a lot of tips, a lot of talking, and we're all here to celebrate our very last show. So we have Charene, Sarah, myself, and Steve. And we have a little special treat for everybody. Well, I guess it's treats for us. I don't know about you guys, but we are going to indulge a little bit into some food that we have during the show. So we're going to start with Charene. Charene,
Yes.
how's it going? And what do you have?
Yeah, thank you. I'm doing quite well. And it is now 7 a.m. in Hong Kong. So I'm actually enjoying my breakfast. And usually I will have my McDonald's breakfast. I will have my hash brown and also some hamburger. I know that Joe loves McDonald's so much. So if you come to Hong Kong, let me just treat you the meal for the McDonald's, for the breakfast, for the lunch, and for the dinner. So that is a great breakfast choice.
Yes.
Is that the triple trio meal?
Yeah, we have it in the race course, so we must try it later.
And it is 12 a.m. where Steve is at. So we are at midnight. So Steve, how's it going? What do you have for us?
Well, I was having a pizza. I get it from La Favorita, which is a nice delivery pizza place in Edinburgh. And it was 12-inch pizza. So I thought that would last me the night, but it hasn't because I've eaten it by about 11 o'clock. So that's gone. So now I've decided to have some sugary nonsense. So this is a nice, this is a nice sort of donut with fresh cream, and it's falling on the powdered sugars now falling on the laptop. But there it is. It's really good for the teeth, you know.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Maybe it might be good luck for this last part of the show here. Well, you're gonna probably buy one every day if you hit every one of your picks.
I should have eaten it with sugar one last week, shouldn't I?
Oh yeah, sugar. I forgot about
Too late.
And Sarah, I know you're itching to tell us what you have.
I have an awesome Trader Joe's meal. I'm very excited. I got some mozzarella sticks and I got some soup dumplings.
Oh, dumplings!
I like
there
dumplings very much. Yeah, that's so nice.
Are for Charene.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
That's a coffee, not a beer. Okay.
Sure. Sure it is.
Yeah, we don't know what's really in that.
Yeah.
And then I guess myself, I have a cookie, a blueberry powder cookie, whatever this is. But I do have an ice cream bar that I'll open later on the show. So that's that. And now we've had a lot of memories during the show, either from a punting perspective or from a race perspective of what we've seen throughout the season. And there's been a lot. We've had a lot of great races, a lot of great jockeys coming in to try their hand at Hong Kong. I thought it was a really good season, especially after they've opened up everything from COVID, and they're kind of Hong Kong was one of the last ones to finally open up everything. So Charene, what was your fondest memory of the season?
Yeah, in this Hong Kong racing season, I admit that it is quite tough for us because we are now facing the COVID situation. And however, Hong Kong racing didn't stop anytime, and all for the whole season, the races went on very smoothly. And I'm quite the most memorable race for me will probably be Wellington winning the Group 1 Queen Silver Jubilee Cup, because it was his first time stepping up to 1400 meters. And I still remember that he won it impressively and easily. And however, if you ask me for the most memorable part for our show, I may be saying that not a race, it is a moment that I still remember that all of us was selecting Tulip Miguel as our best bet. And however, when he came to the gates and he just withdrawn, I think that that moment was quite memorable for me. So hopefully we are going to have a better season in the coming year. So, and hopefully all of us will stay healthy and stay lucky and just enjoy racing everywhere.
Yep, exactly. Well said, Charene. And Steve, what are your memories of this season?
Yeah, I'm glad you said memories, because I think it's hard to really pinpoint just one in some ways, you know, as Charene says, Wellington and Golden 60 also losing a couple and then coming back and being as good as ever. And I also enjoy the HKR night as well. There are lots of nice horses there, see some good horses, and just the Group 1s, just the whole thing. And Lyle Hewitson, I really enjoyed seeing him come back and make such a good effort this time, and his flourishing partnership with Douglas White. So, and yes, and just the fact that we've all been here, and I really enjoy the Hong Kong racing, because I think another sort of, maybe in Britain, maybe I guess we're all the same anywhere, but I've got lots of good Twitter friends, and there's never any criticism. You get things wrong sometimes, and you get it right. Some days you think you're walking on air, you're picking the right winners, and sometimes you get a disaster. But no one really cares. You all have different selections, and you're all supportive, and it's one big happy family. I tend to find it's good fun. I enjoy it, and it always surprises me. Even the 187 to 1s and the ridiculous prices that you just can't fathom sometimes. It's all good fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And to go back a little bit on Charene about Wellington, we did have a really great sprint division as far as that goes, because we had Hot King Prawn, Stronger winning at big odds, Sky Darcy finally winning a Group 1, and or Skyfield. I'm sorry, Skyfield winning a Group 1, and unfortunately Hot King Prawn retired, and we still have hopefully the rest of them that go on the next season. But to go back to Steve, yeah, it was it's really great to be back on and talking about our tips, and whether we're right or wrong, we still have fun. And it takes a lot while we're doing these shows. We all have different time zones we gotta commit to, and it's like it's the odd ones from around the world come together to talk about horse racing is really fun. So I'm really honored to be a part of that. And Sarah, what is your favorite memory of not only just the show but the Hong Kong racing season itself?
I had a lot of really awesome memories. I mean, I was just honored that Charene even wanted me to come on this season, knowing I knew absolutely nothing about Hong Kong racing. And now here we are finishing out this season, and it's been such a wonderful journey. I've learned a lot, and I would say the race that I loved watching the most was the Hong Kong Cup, because I got to see Love's Only You win here in the States at Del Mar in person. And then for her to go over to Hong Kong and finish out her career on top, it was such an unbelievable race. I watched the replay of that probably way too many times than I should have. And then now she's on for retirement. But there was a lot of great memories on our show. Even I would say I've just learned so much. And the one thing I love about Hong Kong racing, like here in the States, like you're not going to see a lot of these big name horses come into their 4-year-old or 5-year-old career, where in Hong Kong, like at least I get to see this horse come back next year, and let's see, he was great this year, let's see if he's just going to continue improving, and it adds like even more excitement getting into the new season. So I think that's really neat, coming from the American perspective, as we just don't see that over here. But I had a lot of great moments on our show, so it's really hard for me to pick one. I mean, I was just even talking to somebody. I mean, we were honored to talk to Zach Purton, who might take the title. We'll see. And then, of course, Lyle and having him and cheering him on, coming back to Hong Kong after doing so well in South Africa, and then see his career really pick up towards the end of the season. It was very exciting.
Yeah. Now, Sarah, I'm going to ask you real quick, because everybody says that Hong Kong's a little bit easier. And it's not easy trying to pick winners, but as far as like how they do their classes and handicaps and all that, do you think it's easier in Hong Kong than it is to say in America, where we have to worry about allowance races and all these other things?
Because I think it's just like kept very straightforward. You have class 1 through 5, where here we have allowance races, starter allowance, maiden special weights, maiden, listed stakes, to, we have graded stakes and non-listed. Like, there's just so many different variables that come into play over here, where Hong Kong, it just seems very streamlined. And it's just, I feel like, to me, it's a little bit easier, especially if you're coming in as a novice to the sport. It's a little bit easier to be like, okay, so class 5 is the lowest, great. So when they go to a class 4, that means they're getting better. Where here, you're just like, ooh, okay, well, this is $20,000 race going to a $40,000 maiden special weight. There's a lot of things that go into American racing that could confuse. a lot of newbies that want to come into the sport.
Yeah, and especially with Hong Kong only having to deal with the two tracks, so Sha Tin and of course Happy Valley, which Happy Valley ended on a good note. So my memory from a punting perspective, and I'm still gonna laugh about it because I didn't think it was gonna win, but You're My Everything winning at like 20-1 as a best bet. That's hard. If you make it your best bet, you have to be really, really confident it's gonna win. So that was like one of the big ones for me, was tipping that one. As far as the memory goes, Golden 60, obviously having that big run and having that just getting beat, and then everybody was thinking he's done. But I mean, look, if you look at Golden 60, he wouldn't be such a big deal if everybody started talking about him. Everybody in the world talked about him. They were talking about him in a good way or a bad way. But he was the horse that he brought the goods. I mean, it was unfortunate we didn't get to see him in Japan. But I think that he probably would have at least been into the finish, just like how Nature Strip went over to Ascot and ended up winning over there. And especially Lyle Hewitson. Lyle Hewitson, I know he really, really wanted it. He really, really wanted to come back. And he was supposed to go to Japan because he knows that Japan is where the money is. Not saying that Hong Kong doesn't have the money, but I think he was really put off of not coming back to Hong Kong. He had a terrible season, and now just to see him bounce back and getting all these wins and all this other stuff, you could see that he is one of the top jockeys, I think, all around the world, especially winning a lot of Group 1s in South Africa. So yeah, I think Lyle Hewitson, I hope he comes back. He's a really great jockey and a good friend of ours, especially to us on the show and to everywhere else that he's been, because he is a top guy in horse racing as far as jockey goes. Okay, so now I'm done blabbering. Let's get into our triple trio jackpot. So we do have races 5, 6, and 7, which is covering the triple trio. We have a big jackpot of 21 million, I should say. I'm sorry, 21 million. That equates to almost 3 million in America. And that is going to be race number 5. So we're going to start at race number 5, the Solar Hey Hey Handicap. It's a class 4 race at 1,800 meters. And Charene, I'm going to let you go first. Who do we have?
Yeah. In the first leg of the triple trio race 5, I'm going to pick the last time winner, number 10, Hyperion Tree, because we see that after this horse joining the current leading stable, Frankie Law stable, he is getting better and better, especially when he adopts the front running, the leading tactic. He is very strong. And last time out, he moved to Happy Valley over 2,200 meters. He won it easily. And at that time, he was leading all the way. However, his final sectional time was still a great time. So I believe that last time out, it was quite a strong and solid win for him. So this time, after winning the race impressively, he will just carry 5 pounds more than last time out. And also, we have Alexis Badel keeps riding this horse. And also, moving to Sha Tin may not be a problem for him because this horse already had the experience of racing here. So I think that Hyperion Dragon, number 10, is likely to have a back-to-back win, especially it will be quite meaningful for the trainer Frankie Law. He's now leading with 90 winners in the season. It is a huge number. So if Hyperion Dragon can win again today, I think that Frankie Law will be quite happy for it, and also it will be quite meaningful. So Hyperion Dragon number 10 for me in race 5.
Hyperion Tree?
Yes, right.
Okay. Hyperion Tree had a last win out, and then also a second at Sha Tin. So he did get to try the Sha Tin course, and then ended up getting a second, and then goes back to Happy Valley, and then ended up getting a win. So taking a cut back in distance on the 1,800, but I don't think that should be a concern. So, Steve, who do we have?
Yeah, I like Hyperion Tree, but I went for Turquoise Alpha, ridden by Zach Purton. He was rated 88 when he won his maiden in Ireland at Naas. And he's been quite disappointing in Hong Kong. It took him 20 runs to win, but he did win on his penultimate start over the 1,600. And he backed that up last time with a pretty good third. He was drawn 14, the widest of all that day under Zach. He stayed on really well. So I think the step up to 1,800 meters, he's tried it before. I think he's possibly a slightly better horse now. And Zach will have him closer to the pace than he did the last time when he was drawn in 14, because he had to drop him right back to the rear of the field, stayed on well, but couldn't reach the first 2. So for me, yes, hopeful. I mean, He's a kind of a horse that a hostage to fortune, as they say, because he has to come through traffic to win. But I think he's good enough, and Hyperion Tree will provide a nice pace for him too. So for me, number 11, Turquoise Alpha.
And I think Turquoise Alpha you've been on before, correct?
I've been on him most of the times until he won.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
You just talk horse racing, and that's what ends up happening. Is you bet on him so many times they don't win for you, and then it costs you a lot of money. And of course, the time you don't have him, he wins. But he does have the last 2 races. Again, it probably will take the extra 200 meters because the last 2 races he was in, they were both 1600. And oddly enough, not with Zach Burton. So Zach Burton's going to get the ride, and I know he wants to try to win this championship. But Sarah, who do we have?
I'm with Charene on the 10 Hyperion Tree. Like Charene had mentioned, he is dropping down quite a bit, coming off of a win at 2,200 meters, now coming down to this 18 and coming to Sha Tin, where he had really great form last time at Sha Tin in the middle of June. And we get, Alexi staying aboard. So we have 3 races back to back, or 2 races prior to this back to back with Alexi. So he's really gotten the form, really gotten comfortable with him. He is going to he's quick out of the gate, so I should see him no problem getting towards that lead and really settling in quite nicely. And, again, like Charene had mentioned, Frankie Lohr, let's see if we can get him that trainer title here. I think we could easily get a win here. I do like that drop back. He's just a strong horse, and he stays strong through the whole course of the race. So that won't be a problem at all. So the 10 Hyperion Tree.
Yeah, and especially Hyperion Tree, the last 2 races haven't been far off the finish, and he destroyed him in the last race by 2.5 lengths ahead of Wonder Years, and then Turf Brilliance was barely almost got there, but I think that extra weight that he had to carry was the reason why he didn't. But I think that Hyperion Tree does have a chance within this race. So hopefully we have 3 selections. One is a double selection, so hopefully we could get your triple trio here, because I am going to pick a value play in this one, and that is going to be number 1, Darcy Joy, with Alfie Chan. He's won before. He was on this big winning streak, but a while ago, probably the beginning of the year, he was running really well in the class 4s, and then all of a sudden he takes this step up to the class 3. He just couldn't handle it. He hasn't had a really great race since then. So now that he gets to go back to class 4, I think even though he is going to get a little bit off from Alfie Chan, who's going to take 2.5 kilos off, I think that'll help a lot. He's won at Barrier 9 before, and I think that he is a course and distance specialist. He's won this twice with Matthew Chadwick, both times with Darcy Joy. You're looking at about $15 on the win line. So I think Darcy Joy, that's going to be my value play. So I think he does have a chance, especially in this race where he goes back down in class, but has to take a little bit off with Alfie Chan on board. So to recap, Sarah and Charene go for number 10, Hyperion Tree. Steve goes for number 11, Turquoise Alpha. And we're going to go, my value play is number 1, Darcy Joy. So to go on to race number 6, and that is a 1,400 meter Medic Kingdom handicap. And Charene, who do we have?
Yeah, so in race 6, I'm gonna have my best bet here. It is number 7. All is good. This horse is going to have his 5th start in Hong Kong today, but it is his first time to jump from gate 1. I believe that he can take advantage of the good draw, because last time out he finished 4th, and on his recent 2 ones he also finished 4th, and from the wide draws, and showing that this horse is quite strong, quite good over racing over legal that 1,400 meters. And this time we see that Zach Burton takes the ride again. He is expected to stay behind the leaders from the great draw, and hopefully in this race, I think that there is a lot of horses that used to stay in the midfield or at the back marker. So the pace will not be fast here. So maybe all is good after breaking from gate 1. He can be more active in the beginning, and it would be quite a nice chance for him to break the maiden here, because Zach Burton is riding him, and he is also chasing for the Champions Jockey, the title. So hopefully all is good. This time finally gets a good draw. He can break the maiden in Hong Kong. So number 7, all is good, trained by Francis Lui. He will be my best bet today.
And Steve, all is good for you too?
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, all is good for me as well. Caught me, I was dreaming there. Yeah, yeah. Four runs, 6th, 5th, 4th, 4th. Course and distance. The last twice he's been fairly good. And look, Ferraris hasn't done much wrong on him. It's just time for Zach Purton to take over at a crucial time when he wants to win the Jockeys' Championship. And it's a good 4th last time. And a place behind him in 5th was United Endeavours. And that horse went on to win, quite surprisingly, at 34-1 at Happy Valley on Wednesday. So the form has been boosted. And I mean, it's a tricky race, isn't it? Because you've got lots of good chances here. Cassie Ferrari, Gang of Brothers, Amazing Victory, and others. But, you know, from gate 1, only his 5th start, he hasn't really run a bad race. In fact, Purton was on him on his debut when he was behind Spontaneous on the all-weather. He ran quite well there as well. So I just think he's the consistent kind of horse that you'll get a good run from. So, yeah, for me, I agree with Charene. All is good.
Yeah, and from the last 3 races, he does go back to Purton, who, as you mentioned, did really well in the all-weather, especially trialing up to that race. He's had a lot of consistent trials coming up to this preparation, especially getting a 4th at Sha Tin on the soft track. So, yeah, we might see a good run from him. He's currently the favorite at 3.8. A place line is not too bad. You're going to get even money, so that's pretty good value, especially for that. You normally, if you see a favorite, you don't see them get even money on a place line, so that's actually really good. And Sarah, what do we have?
Well, I'm going to take the horse that, you know, Purton has ridden quite a bit, but now we get Lyle aboard, and that is the 4 Gang of Brothers. He's trying this 1400 meter out for a 3rd try. I really think you can draw a line through the last race. Just wasn't the best, just did not get set up well in that race. I think it is rather forgivable. You look at the time before that where he ran at Sha Tin on June 5th and put in one heck of a performance to win at the 1400 meter. You know, he's been running at 1200 for so long and has really improved quite a bit throughout this season. Now we're trying him out a bit further. And I think he's just going to continue to improve as much as we've seen him so far this season. He is definitely one horse I would keep my eye on for sure next season. He's a really good early turn of foot here. So that's going to help him out quite a bit in this field because there's such a lot of talent, a lot of decent gate speed here as well to note. But he's jumping out of barrier 5. And I just think his form is going to be very promising to get him into the perfect position under Lyle.
Yeah, that's right, Sarah. Especially, I think he's wanted that 1400 because when they put him up to the 1400, he won. So I do believe you're right. I think he should throw that last race out because that other race that he had against Kung Fu Tea was actually pretty impressive. And you are going to get a good value on him, $12 with Lyle Hewitson, who Lyle Hewitson was like a lot of favorites back at the city circuit at Happy Valley. So that's really interesting. That you're going to get $12, not too bad for a selection with Gang of Brothers, especially having Zach Purton on him before, and now he jumps off to All Is Good.
I forget to mention that is my value bet as well, but we'll talk about that again.
We'll get back to that, absolutely. Yeah. I'm also on another long shot. I'm going to go with Royal Agility. Now this one's funny because you're the one that you picked, Sarah, had Lyle Hewitson. Lyle Hewitson was on Royal Agility, and he ended up getting a win on him back in July 1st. So then he had a short rest, and then he went 10 days after and raced again, but didn't do too well. So this is another one where you probably want to throw out that race. But he was in the class 5s, and he was hanging around class 4, class 5. Then he finally got a win. It took him a while, but he finally got one. And then he goes to Sha Tin, or he goes back to the class 4 at a 57 kgs, and you're gonna get he's gonna go a little bit higher, 59, so he's gonna carry 3 more. But I think Harry Bentley wants to get a couple wins before he ends the season as well. This is a really tough field. The field's paying $3.80 for All Is Good, but Royal Agility is going to be 14-1. So I think if we do hit another triple trio for this leg, then we do have a lot of value underneath the favorite if the favorite happens to be in there. So to recap, Steve and Charene go for number 7, All Is Good. Sarah goes for number 4, Gang of Brothers, and I go for number 3, Royal Agility. And number 4, Sarah, Gang of Brothers, is her value play. So now we go on to race number 7. That is going to be another 1400 meter race, the All You Wish handicap. And Charene, who do we have?
Here I'm going to the bottom. I like number 12, Red Titan. This time he will be ridden by Joe Moreira because I think that he may be a better partner for the horse. This horse is quite lightly raced in this season, just have 3 stars because earlier in this season he was suffering from some injuries. But luckily we see that after having a long spell, enough spell, he returned quite well. So I believe that especially coming to the end of the season, horses that are lightly raced will have quite a big advantage because all the rivals are quite tired in the end of the season. So Red Titan this time will carry just a lightweight and also breaking from a good draw. I remember that last time out when he was stepping up to 1400 meters for the first time and he drawn gate number 14. But this time gate number 6 will be much more better for him, especially in the earlier part of the race. I believe that Red Titan can stay in a great position with cover. And also with Joe Moreira on board, he is also working hard to chase for the champion jockey's title. So I believe that number 12, Red Titan, is now ready to bounce back. And I believe that he is also able to win. So number 12, Red Titan for me.
Yeah, Red Titan, another one that looks like that he really likes the 1400 because he's been on the 1200s and the 1,000 meters before, trialing up to the prep and got a 3rd, pretty consistent, then a 5th and then a 4th. So yeah, I think he's getting up there, especially Joe Moreira was trialing him before and not too bad. He's had Alexi Bedell, Joe Moreira, and Zach Purton on him in this within this season. So yeah, that's you're gonna get about the favorite, $4.70. He wasn't the favorite at first when I looked in the morning. Now he's starting to take money. So a lot of punters wanting to get on Red Titan and Joe Moreira getting this one. So Steve, what do we have for you?
I went for probably his main rival, number 13, Beauty Mission, ridden by Alexis Bedell. He's had 8 runs. He's unlucky not to have got one on the board by now because he was 3rd to Flying Ace. He was beaten ahead in that race. Still only 3rd, but beaten ahead. And 2nd to Campione, a short head away from winning. And then last time, it was a good run. He didn't get the best of runs. 4th to Excellent Daddy, a bit unlucky that day. And he steps up to this 1400 meters for the first time. As Charene says, Red Titan has a great chance because he was from gate 14 last time. And I think it was first time headgear he wore as well, in addition to the regular tongue tie. So it's interesting. Alexis Bedell has been on both the last time, Red Titan and Beauty Mission. So yeah, I went for Beauty Mission. I thought this would be his time to win, but it's a tough old race, but he'll do for me.
He does have ability, especially when you look back in his Australia form. He's won a lot of races. He only had his one bad race was he finished 3rd. Everything else he won after that. So this horse does have ability, and the Beauty stable, of course, always want to get a win, especially on the last day of the season for Hong Kong. And you're going to get about $6.30. So that is the second favorite to Red Titan. So the rivals going at it. And Sarah, who do we have for your selection?
I'm going with one, I guess you could say, a little bit of an outsider. Could be another value bet, and that's the 2 Kilindini with Karis Teton aboard. Coming off of a fairly decent 3rd placing last time out with Jerry Chow. So now I don't know if I would necessarily say it's an upgrade. Nothing against Chow, but I do like Teton. I like his style and how he handles the horses. So it'll be really interesting to see how he handles this horse. He's real quick out of the gate and really should sit just there off the leader, but he does have trouble passing horses. We've seen him improve throughout the season. So I'm really hoping he will continue that improvement on to the final day of the meet and at least get one win this meet. He does like to, kind of sit there in second and then not budge and not make that move as he needs to. We see that a lot. Their horses, they're pack animals. So we just got to get him to cross over and pass those horses. So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he's going to be one of the good contenders against Red Titan and Beauty Mission. So we'll see. But I do think he's a good value play here as well. He's not my value pick, but if you're looking to make some money in this race as well, definitely keep an eye out for him.
Not to mention, he is a very talented horse and in South Africa at one point, winning a grade 1 over there or a group 1, and then made his way over to Hong Kong. Still trying to get the footing over there, but he's been pretty consistent the last 2 with the trial getting 2nd and then a win, or not a win, but a 3rd place finish with Jerry Chow as well. I'm gonna go on for. I think we picked like everywhere around the world because my pick is gonna be Imperial McGee with Ruin Maya. The last he was a really consistent in Brazil when he was there, and then he had a one run, but it was an 8th place finish. But even though it was an 8th place finish, he wasn't too far off the leaders as well. He was only he was about 2 lengths off. His trials weren't that great, but he was also a stakes winner in Brazil. So another one that I think that does have ability. I think they overdid it with the handicapping because I think I mean I know he's won in over there, but he's going into the race as a 57.5 kg and a 71 rating or a 70 rating. So that is my concern about him, and I think you could throw out that last race. I don't think that is the ability that he has. I think he's better than that, especially since he's draw number 1. But when you take a look at the speed map in this race, I think the Flying Bonus is going to be the one that's going to be on the lead, and everybody else we're hoping for some mid packers and back markers and on the pacers to overtake Flying Bonus, and you're going to get about $7, so a third favorite in this race. So I'm kind of surprised he is the third favorite, but it looks like the punters want a little piece of the Brazilian horse. So to recap our selection for race number 7, that's going to be Charene goes for number 12 Red Titan, Steve goes for number 13 Beauty Mission, that is his best bet. Sarah Sarah goes for number 2 Kilindini, and I go for horse number 7 Imperial McGee. So, Charene, do you think we should stop it here and then re-record for the best bets? Because you have 3 minutes left.
Right.
Okay.
I will send you a new link. See you.
Okay. And now we go on to our favorite, and this is a sad ending, the last favorite of our part of the show, which is the best bets. So we have a final best bets for you guys on the Beer Garden podcast. And we're going to start with Charene. What is your best bet?
My best bet today on the season finale of this Hong Kong racing season will be in race 6, number 7. All is good. This horse will be ridden by Zach Purton. I think that this horse is still improving. It is just only his 5th start in Hong Kong, like we just mentioned. And I believe that this time he finally gets a good draw. Gate 1 will be so ideal for him because he likes to stay behind the leaders. So this time also in race 6, there is not many fast horse here, so he can definitely.
Sorry, Charene.
Yeah,
I forgot we have race 11.
Yeah.
I thought we did. I was thinking it was. I forgot about race 11. Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
I
didn't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
I forgot it also.
I forgot about that.
Oh, no problem.
Okay, so
we can start.
We'll start again.
Yeah.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1. And now we go on to the lucky last. So we do have race 11, which is the 1600 meter sight winner handicap. It is a class 3. And Charene, who do we have in this race?
Yes, lucky last in the very, very last race for this Hong Kong racing season, race 11. I'm going to have number 5, Tuchel, as my bet. Here, this time, he will be also ridden by Zach Purton again. And then breaking from gate 11, I believe that it should not be a problem for him because he is not a leader. He likes to stay in the midfield or in the back. So the right draw will not be a concern. But this time, I'm going to give him one more chance because he is an up and coming 3-year-old. We saw him to show some ability when he was racing in class 4 before, and last time when he was up to class 3 for the first time, he just finished 3rd. It was a bit disappointed because he didn't finish well, and he was a short price favorite last time out, and also breaking from gate 1. Seems that all the things are doing quite well. However, maybe the ground is not that suitable for him because the yielding course will be may just affect his performance. However, he was beaten by 2.5 lengths, and I think that he is now able to bounce back today because the weather today in Hong Kong is very hot. The fast track may be all quite suitable for Tuchel. So this time, luckily, we have Zach Purton on board again, and the draw is not a big concern. So hopefully, Zach Purton can win the champion jockey title with Tuchel in the last race for the season. So number 5, Tuchel for me as my pick here.
Yeah, Tuchel, you look back, yeah, I don't think he liked the yielding ground. The last two races that he's had on yielding ground, which was earlier in May, and then the last one in the beginning of July, he didn't finish well, and I think he would have probably won that race as a short price favorite. But his other two wins have been pretty impressive, been about 2.5 lengths, and then 2 lengths also with Joe Moreira. So not a bad jockey upgrade or jockey change if you go by that. And Steve, who do we have in race number 11?
I went for the bottom weight, number 4. Let's Do It with Karis Titanon. He's nothing from 14 in Hong Kong, but he's seldom beaten far. He always runs well. And last month, he was second to Chevalier Prince, who runs in this race. Chevalier Prince, ridden by Joe Moreira, running from gate 14. Tricky draw for that horse. And then 6 days ago, Let's Do It came out, and he was third to Woodfire Bro, another solid run. He's not the biggest of animals, so he had to lug around top weight that day in the Class 4. And this time, he's at the opposite end. He's at the bottom of the field, receiving weight from the entire field, but steps up in class to a Class 3. I think Charene's right. The likes of Tuchel has a bit of a classy aspect to the horse, probably a better horse than the likes of Let's Do It, but it's a handicap. So I'm kind of hoping that Let's Do It, he returns to action quite quickly, just 6 days. He's in form. You can rely on him to run his race. Nicely drawn. Karis Tita on board. Likes the course and distance. There's lots of ticks in the right boxes.
Yeah, especially having the last two finishes with Zach Burton as a second and a third. So Zach Burton does opt to ride Tuchel as opposed to Karis Tita riding Let's Do It. But yeah, it's climbing up in the ratings, and it looks like he's going to get there and probably get his first win, I think, of the season, because I don't think he had a win in a while. So yeah, he hasn't had a win in a while. So we'll see how he runs, and you also get $8.90, so good value on him as well. Sarah, who do we have in race 11?
I'm going with the 4 here, Secret Vision with Harry Bentley. He's coming off of a really impressive win last time out in a Class 3 and at the 1,600 meter distance, where he really had a really interesting run, a very tactical run, where he kind of stayed raced behind the midfield most of the way, and then just had that really deep closing move that helped put on an exceptional performance. And now we get to see this, hopefully try it again. He gets lucky barrier 10 is what I wrote down. So hopefully if we get a repeat of the last race where he also jumped out of barrier 10 in that race as well, it should be a quite exceptional race we'll see out of him. He's been racing primarily at Sha Tin, and we've seen him progress each time we come out. So this is just a horse I would definitely say keep your eye on, especially going into next season, as I think he's just improving every time, really getting great tactic, really getting a good turn of foot on this course. He should pull the same move again, have him sit in the back of that mid pack, and then have that late deep move to take on the stretch and get across that wooden finish line first. He definitely has the lungs to challenge this field, and so I'm going to be putting my money on it this time around.
Well, Sarah, you just took the words right out of my mouth, because I picked the same exact horse, Secret Vision, as well for me with Harry Bentley, and that's going to be a $7 chance. So to recap, we have Charene goes for number 5, Tuchel. Steve goes for number 14, Let's Do It. Myself and Sarah go for number 4, Secret Vision. So now we go on to our final best bets of the card, or of the season, I should say, excuse me. And Charene, who do we have for your final best bet of the season?
Yeah, my final best bet for the season, going back to race 6, the second leg of the triple trio we discussed before, I like number 7, All Is Good. As an up-and-coming 3-year-old breaking from gate 1, I believe that he can stay in a great position, getting the rail under Zach Proton if he breaks well. And hopefully the pace here in race 6 will not be that fast, so All Is Good can also enjoy the slow pace here. And we see that this horse already proven himself is quite strong over 1,400 meters. So I'm quite looking forward to All Is Good to break maiden on the finale day at Sha Tin. So race 6, number 7, All Is Good will be my best bet today.
Now, Charene, real quick, before we part ways with our best bets here, for yours at least, All Is Good is a 3-year-old. Do we see him taking a run at the 4-year-old season with the big races? So, you know, the Hong Kong Derby, the Hong Kong, all those other ones.
Maybe I think that possibly in the first leg over the mile for the Hong Kong Classic Mile. However, maybe the longer distance may not be that suitable for him. So maybe he will just focusing on the sprint races in the coming season. So let's see. We will see.
Yeah, we'll see. We have a lot of great 3-year-olds from this season that are going to be probably, we might see them in the 4-year-old season and probably have that 4-year-old Triple Crown campaign. So maybe one to watch. You never know. And Steve, who do we have as your best bet?
I went back to race number 7, number 13, Beauty Mission, ridden by Alexis Vidal. 8 runs so far, yet to win, but deserves to get one on the board. 3rd to Flying Ace, beaten ahead, 2nd to Campion, beaten a short ahead. So he's definitely been knocking on the door. And last start, he was 4th to Excellent Daddy. Another good run once again. The nearest challenger, Red Titan, looks like being his main threat. Been a while since Joe Moreira's won for John Size, I think, actually. I think Alexis Vidal's been doing most of the win for John Size, likes a Power Co-op recently. But I'm sure Red Titan will give it every shot. He's better drawn this time too. But I'm just hoping Beauty Mission makes it 9th time lucky.
Yeah, one of the bottom weights, and especially you're going to get a good best bet here, $6.20. So, when we, as I mentioned before, we want hopefully we'll see if the beauty horses get to celebrate in the winner's circle. And Sarah, who do we have for your best bet?
My best bet comes in at race 10, which is the class 2 race over 1,200 meters. And I'm doing this. I'm taking the 6. I've taken this horse before. Lucky Sweetness with Purton aboard. Jumping out of barrier 10, which isn't the most ideal draw, but he can come over it. And with the short distance of this race, he is real quick out of the gate. He's raced, with 1 run at Sha Tin this season. He's a 3-year-old that has improved quite a bit. And I'm very excited to see his 4-year-old campaign. I mean, he started with the class 3. Now he's coming into the class 2 and just dominated like he did. Really just batted an eye at the competition. Like it wasn't much of a jump for him at all. It's going to be interesting to see Purton back in the irons here. We haven't seen him aboard this horse since beginning of May. We did have Matthew Poon aboard the last 2 times out. But this horse, he can just, I feel like he's one of those horses. He knows what he has to do, and it doesn't matter who's on his back. He just knows it's to win. So I think we're going to see him win again. Not too much value, but actually not a terrible bet. He's at, I think, $3.80. So he is the favorite right now, but I still think you get some decent odds on that.
Yeah, Lucky Sweetness, this is I probably would say the second best race out of the card aside, because this is the class 2, and it's a pretty competitive class 2 because we're looking at the 2 titans going at it. Zach Purton with Lucky Sweetness at a $3.80 shot. And then my best bet, number 10 in that same race, Jumbo Fortune with Joe Moreira and Casper Found. So, I mean, I agree with everything Sarah said. The only thing is that the reason why I picked him over, because we were this close to having a double best bet, but I think the draw is going to make a difference, especially with the 1,200 meters. And Joe Moreira and Jumbo Fortune are draw number 1, and Lucky Sweetness is draw number 10. But good horses, as what Steve says many times, good horses could overcome bad draws. But I think that with Joe Moreira and Jumbo Fortune, I think that they have the pole position and the advantage in this race. So, I mean, you know what? We could put them together and make a best quinella. So maybe we'll see if those 2 end up going first and second. So to recap our best bets, Charene is with race number 6, number 7, All Is Good. Steve is with race number 7, 13, Beauty Mission. Sarah is with race number 10, and that is 6, Lucky Sweetness. And I'm also on the same race number 10, Jumbo Fortune. And now we worked really hard to try to find you a value play as well. And Charene, who do we have for our value play for your last one?
Yeah, my value bet for the day comes in the opener, race 1. It is a class 5 race over 1,200 meters. I like number 5, Good Beauty. This is another horse representing the Beauty stable on the finale day. And this time he will be ridden by Zach Purton. However, the draw may be a bit tricky, but just like we mentioned before, we hope hopefully we can see the good horses overcome the wide draw. Gate 14 may be a bit concern for him. So just hopefully Zach Purton can let the horse to stay in a great position after breaking from the wide draw. But I think that Good Beauty in Class 5 is quite competitive here, because earlier in this season, when he was going down in Class 5, he could win immediately. But at that time, he was breaking from gate 1. But this time, gate 14, so maybe the price is quite attractive. This time for the win, it is $19 and also $5 for the place. So maybe it is quite a good pick for us to have a each way play here. So hopefully Zach Purton can have a great result today. And also, as we just mentioned, that several horses from the Beauty stable is also having quite a good chance here, including number 5, Good Beauty in the opener. So he will be my final value bet for the season.
Yeah, and Good Beauty, especially at that price. I think if Zach Purton wins this first race, especially at those odds, because you're not going to see Zach Purton on those odds hardly ever, that would be really good. And I think that if he wins that one, he might set the tone for the rest of the card. He might end up winning. And Steve, who do we have as your value play?
I went to the next race, race number 2, and that is for number 14, Ruby Stars. 5-year-old horse, once trained in the UK by Kevin Ryan, and he was a good horse actually when he was 2 years old. He won 2 from 4. He's quite capable horse as a juvenile, but he's been pretty awful since he came to Hong Kong. But the last couple of runs, he's shown a bit more, been a bit more encouraging, and you can't get any more better handicapped than this. He's down to a mark of 20 now. I think Alexi Bedell does quite well on these sort of moderate horses as well. He does good on Wellington, does good on any horse, but I think he goes particularly well on any type of class horse. And yeah, I think Ruby Stars could just be a bit of a surprise here, because his form ties up with a few of these, including Win 33, and draw 8 is not bad, barrier 8. So for me, yeah, Ruby Stars at what I think will be a fairly nice price.
Yeah, and I don't think the horse is as bad as he looks, because he does have a lot of good, his past performances of the thirds in the last 2 races. I mean, if you go back 2 months ago, towards the end of like September of last year, yeah, those were pretty bad. But when you get a little bit closer, maybe he just needed that spell. Now he's getting up there now, so he could surprise, and he's got $14 isn't a bad price at all. That field is wide open too, but you don't really expect anything in a Class 5 race. We'll see how he runs there. And Sarah, who do we have for your value bet?
It's race 6, and that's the 4 Gang of Brothers. I just really like this horse a lot, sticking to this 1,400 meter distance, and which he's won at Sha Tin in June. Like I mentioned before, you can just draw a line. His last race just did not set up well for him, but he's a horse that showed consistent improvement this season. He's a horse that I've picked before even. We get Lyle aboard, which I'm excited to see. That Lyle's always a good jockey. He's had Zach Purton aboard, but Zach is sticking on another horse, so fingers crossed. I think he's at $12 right now, so definitely is a horse to play each way, but definitely someone to think about here. He's going to put in a really tough competition, so hopefully we'll get some value.
Well, I mean, yeah, Gang of Brothers, I think, wanted that 1,400 because after a while, he finally got the 1,400 and he won and beat Kung Fu Tea, especially on a wide barrier 9. And then in the second one, I think he could throw out. So I bet Gang of Brothers with Lyle Hewitson is Sarah's. And then my value bet, we're going to go back to race number 5. That is the 1,800 Class 4 race at Darcy Joy. He's been out of form, but at Class 3, so I think that going back to Class 4 is going to be more beneficial for him, especially taking some weight off as a top weight as well, because he was in form. He was like a first, second, first, and then all of a sudden when he stepped up, I think the competition was too much for him. So getting that weight break, and especially he's won at a wide barrier before, barrier number 9, but I don't think that will be a concern. So to recap our value bets, Charene is with race number 1, number 5, Good Beauty. Steve is with race number 2, 14, Ruby Stars. Sarah is with race number 6, 4, Gang of Brothers. And then my value bet is in race number 5, number 1, Darcy Joy. So now we have the final big question that we're going to see who we think is going to win the Jockeys Premiership. And I'm going to start with Charene. Is it Joe Moreira? Is it Zach Purton?
Yeah, I think I'm going to support Zach Purton. It is a question that's very popular among the local punters. We keep discussing it every day. But I think that on the season finale day, today, Zach Purton is fully booked, while Joe Moreira will just have 10 mounts. And like we just discussed before, for my best bet and value bet will both be ridden by Zach Purton. And I think that apart from good beauty and all is good, I also think that in the feature race for the day, the class 1 over the mile, Turin Weston is having quite a good chance. And also on the last race for the season, race 11, I think that Peugeot is having a good chance as well. So Zach Purton and Joe Moreira, I believe that both of them will have a winner today. However, I like Zach Purton's mounts more, so I'm going to support Zach to win the champion jockey title.
Yeah, and Zach has one more race than Joe Moreira does, because Joe Moreira doesn't have a mount in race 4. So we'll see if that does make a difference or not. Steve, who are you with?
Well, yeah, same as Charene. I've gone for Zach Purton. I mean, I always do my picks for the whole card, and I don't even have a winner for Moreira, which is going to be wrong. He's bound to have one, isn't he? You get to the end of your selections, and it occurs to you, I don't have one by Moreira, and you think, oh, I must go back and find one. But what's the point? You've gone through it, so you may as well just stick with it and watch him win on 5 and watch all your selections go wrong. But yeah, I mean, I've got Zach to win 4. I think Global Harmony's got a good chance. All is good. And I mean, I even went for Fantastic Treasure just for an each way option against Turin Red Sun. But I mean, Turin Red Sun is probably going to win that, so I mean, he could win 3 or 4, couldn't he? And I mean, apart from Red Titan, which is a good chance, I'm not quite sure where Moreira's going to get too many opportunities from. And as Charene says, he's got 1 horse less as well. And Zach Purton's got 1 less dead heat. So that's right, isn't it? I think Zach's got 1 dead heat to Moreira's 2. So I think, even if they both drew a blank, I think Zach Purton would win on the fact that he only has 1 dead heat and Joe Moreira's had 2 during the season. So, if they got, say, two winners each tomorrow, Zach would still win. But which probably would be satisfactory. I mean, one of them is going to win more than the other tomorrow. But anyway, Zach Purton. Stop talking, Steve.
Zach Purton gets another vote. So we have 2 for Zach Purton. Sarah, is it going to be almost a unanimous? Is it Zach Purton?
It is. I know when we talked about this last week, I was still on Zach Purton, and I'm going to stick on Zach Purton, really for all the same reasons that both Charene and Steve already covered. I don't even know what else to say. Besides, I think that 1 extra mount could really show something. They're tied right now without, not including dead heats, but I'm team Zach Purton as well.
Oh, I guess I'm going to have to play the devil's advocate and be the odd one out here. I'm picking Moreira. Just because he came back. He was behind so many times and he's come back and now he's tied it. So I think the momentum is now going to be, I mean, look, the Happy Valley meet, Zach didn't get it that many good. I mean, he got a lot of really bad draws, and and if you're looking at the current Jockeys Challenge now, he's at 2.6, and then Joe Moreira's at 3.25. So obviously those 2 are going to be right there in it. But I think that Joe will try to get the upper hand. I do agree that he doesn't have the greatest of mounts that Zach Purton does. But I know that after coming off of injury and all this other stuff that Joe Moreira was going through in the season, not to say that Zach Purton wasn't doing it as well. I think that Moreira, especially riding the momentum that he had from the Happy Valley meet, I think he's going to try to win this one going into this Sha Tin meet. So the 3 votes go to Zach Purton. I'm the odd one going with Joe Moreira. And real quick, before we end the show, I just wanted to say thank you guys for all the support throughout the season. It was really fun talking, a lot of fun talking about Hong Kong racing, one of the best races in the world. We've been blessed with having so many guests on. A lot of us couldn't make it, but we always tried to make the time to make it. And I want to thank Charene as well for having us all on to talk about Hong Kong racing, which is one of my favorites as far as international racing goes. And it's been a lot of fun. really looking forward to next season. Hopefully we could land more bets for you. Hopefully you guys catch that triple trio at 2.3 million, I believe, and that would be like 3 million or so. No, 21 million.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep forgetting that extra zero.
That's a huge number.
Hong Kong, 2.9 US.
Yeah, there we go.
Right.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. And yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and hopefully we'll get you some winners. And until next time, for the very last time, until the next show, good night.
Bye. Thank you.
Hello， 各位馬迷朋友，大家好，又係 BONO 講心水啦。嚟到全季嘅殺科戰啦，今次我就揀嚟第6場4班嘅14米同大家傾傾嘅。呢場啦，我嘅重心推介咧係13號嘅行進寶區啊。呢匹10歲老黃忠啦，最近2次跑4班14米，預住個慢步速咧之下都好肯追嘅喎。尤其是啦總場次7:24，同埋嗰一場啦頭3段段速比標準時間咧係慢咗1秒半咁多嘅。所以一隊嘅前置馬競快聯盟同埋功夫茶咧，最後就一放到底咧穿 Q 翻嚟嘅。而行進寶區啦，早段咧落腳比較慢啦，喺直路操咧仲落後成8、9個馬位，但係咧都爆咗個全場最快末段翻嚟咧就追近跑咗個第4嘅。而喺佢外側啦，仲有一匹咧木貨兄弟咧都有份衝嘅。咁而佢稍後啦加程到1600咧，亦都順利贏馬保中添。證明到啦嗰一場馬步速賽事啦，能夠咧追到上嚟嘅馬咧，其實咧都有一定實力同埋狀態支持嘅。呢匹行進寶區以往啦每一季咧都幾乎能夠咧交到頭馬嘅。今季暫時咧同頭馬無緣，不過亦都因為咁樣咧，現時嘅評分已經落到咧係復役以嚟嘅新低45分㗎啦。我睇翻佢最近呢幾場啦，喺4班嘅賽事啦，差唔多每一場咧都好肯追嘅。除咗上一場啦，加程到1600。呢匹馬不嬲咧，跑1600成績都麻麻地嘅。不過今次啦，翻嚟啦，贏過5次嘅田草1400米啦，相信會係箭頭所在㗎啦。睇翻馬房嘅部署啦，星期6咧其實有2組4班嘅1400嘅。除咗佢之外咧，馬房咧都報咗匹紅龍嘅。不過咧就以行進寶區作為咧馬房嘅首選，兼且咧打埋黃牌添啊。咁都反映到啦，雖然蘇維爾馬房啦，去到季尾好似攻勢就放緩咗啲，但係對待呢一匹啦，已經係10歲啦，跑埋今場咧都硬性退役嘅馬咧，都應該咧今場啲決心咧出擊嘅。希望呢一匹啦10歲老馬可以咧今場最後贏馬光榮退役啦。所以今次我推介俾大家就係呢匹13號嘅行進寶區，買1 win 3 pay啦，應該咧都有啲分頭嘅。好啦，今次嘅心水講到呢度啦，我哋下季有緣再見啦。祝大家好運同埋一個開心嘅暑假，拜拜！
各位晚安，大家好，我係中年大叔，嚟到今季最後一次田草賽事啦。事不宜遲，我即刻講下我今次推介啲咩馬俾大家。係第11場4號嘅信心之選，呢匹4歲嘅愛爾蘭自購馬。總共出賽咗4次，係除咗第一鋪跑1200米第10名之外，之後嗰3場都接連上名。喺第11場裏邊咧係有隱形翅膀同致勝者強，但係喺我心目中信心之選嘅質素同埋係因為佢上一場個衝勢非常之強勁，而令到我覺得佢可以趁季尾再可以贏多場頭馬。因為之前嗰一場嘅1600米佢擺咗頭走，入到節奏翻嚟唔多，就輸俾呢個超級綠洲同最眼光。但上一場稍改一個跑法，沿途外搭位置，入直路班德里移出去外檔，以一個勁勢衝刺下贏隱形翅膀同東方飛影。當然啦，致勝者強嗰個質素係唔錯，但係我認為信心之選起碼都可以有機會同致勝者強一平，所以我推介11場4號信心之選俾大家。另外一匹華將嘅心水馬俾大家參考下，係第6場嘅行進寶區， 因為聽日係恒信寶區嘅最後一場，因為跑埋呢場之後佢將會退役，咁大家可以留意下恒信寶區可唔可以光榮退役呢？多謝大家。